I wish that I could just wish away my feelings, but I can't.
Sand hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand.
Hurts my feelings.
Haunted by big sand in my very soul. Sand. Oh, you're suffering as much as I am.
Sand hurts my feelings.
Tormenting me. I'm in agony.
Sand hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand.
Hello, and welcome to The Sand Hurts My Feelings, a Star Wars podcast from a Swiftie point of view. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm your other host, Sarah. And today we're talking about Leia and Lover. So which song from Taylor Swift's album Lover do we think best represents Leia?
Yes, and I've already shocked Sarah in telling her that mine is not a happy song.
Yeah, so we still don't know each other's picks as of this recording. But I'm like, we were talking a little bit about it earlier. It's like, well, you know, Lover for the most part is an upbeat album because it is about being in love and good relationships and all of those things. And so Alex is like, mine's sad. And I was like, what? How? What?
So, yeah. So if you know the album, you might be able to pick out my song already if you know it's a sad one. But anyway, on that album. But how are we doing, Sarah?
We're good. It's fall.
Yeah, more fall, more wonderfulness.
I was gonna say have thoroughly enjoyed all of my chai and maple flavored items. I enjoy those. Like, I would want to eat them year round, but people kind of give you weird looks if you eat those kind of things year round and drink those kind of things year round.
Oh, okay. So you're into those. So maybe we could have the Taylor Swift's chai cookies in the fall, or is that a winter thing?
Well,
is that a Christmas cookie?
It's a little bit more of a Christmas cookie because we put eggnog in the frosting, and that is still like a winter thing.
Which is dumb, but anyway.
I was going to say, if you're willing to have something other than an eggnog frosting, like we could do a maple frosting or a vanilla frosting, then we could have those. Yes, so I have made Taylor Swift's chai cookie recipe before. 10 out of 10, recommend. It is good.
One of my favorite cookies.
Yes.
I'm not a cookie guy, because again, not to disparage cookies. Like, I'm not a homemade cookie person because I like my cookies soft. And so, like, fresh out of the oven, I will devour those suckers. Like, anything Sarah bakes, and she gets mad at me because I'm just like, I'm going to eat all the cookies. And she's like, get away from my cookies! And then the next morning, she's like, hey, do you want a cookie? Or, like, the next, like, month, she's like, do you want a cookie? I'm like, no cookie, please. It's hard.
They're only good in this 20-minute window.
They're only good in this 20-minute window. Then, yep.
So I have to chuckle. Well, and especially when I've made him the Taylor Swift chai cookies, I'm like, they need to cool enough to be able to put the frosting on. But he eats like half the batch before I can even put the frosting on.
Yeah, I'm bad. But the Taylor Swift cookies, they stay soft. So those are good cookies. So I'm my hands down again, one of my favorites. So
yes. So yes.
Anyway, I guess that'll be a Christmas. We'll talk more about that again in Christmas or the winter time.
If to have the true eggnog frosting, because that's that's how the recipe comes, or the version that I found, listeners. There may be other ones, and I'm sure there are other ones floating around out there. But it does an eggnog frosting, and I could make my own eggnog. I'm not about to, because neither of us care for it that much to drink a whole bunch of it all by ourselves.
Right.
That is the glorious time of doing that cookie at Christmas, because you can use the little bit you need for the recipe, but then bring it to a party and other people drink all your eggnog.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I can make you some. We don't even have to frost them. Isn't that a concept?
That is a concept. I could just devour them as is.
Yes. Oh, I guess listeners, you'll have to tune in for our next episode to see how that goes. Mm-hmm. It sounds like we have a plan for some fall baking, which I, again, 10 out of 10, living my best fall life, am all about.
Awesome. All right, yeah, and we're getting closer to Skeleton Crew, which is interesting. Yeah, I'm actually excited. I was not crazy excited about it when it was first announced, because I was like, I don't know what it is. Like, I didn't understand it, because it was just like, I don't know. But like when I saw the trailer, that was also really cool. And when I understood more of like, it's basically Goonies in space, I'm like, that's awesome. And also, I trust the system as in it's being made. I don't trust the makers of, because Acolyte was baller, and I didn't have any clue of what was happening there beforehand, and it just was amazing. So if I just trust the system, it should work out. We'll see how it goes after that, but the season itself should be great.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of in the same camp as you. I was so focused on the Acolyte because everything I hadn't heard a ton, but everything I had heard about the Acolyte, I was just like, I'm so excited, so excited. So I didn't really even think about Skeleton Crew until they did the trailer at D3 or D23, excuse me. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yes, I'm now actively looking forward to this show.
Yeah. So, yeah, Star Wars. We like it. It's for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, so Alex, what is your experience with the album Lover?
All right, so Lover came out in 2019. So this actually came out when we were dating.
Yeah.
I had not converted Sarah into a Swiftie yet. So this one was kind of, I introduced this on my own and enjoyed this one on my own. But I really enjoyed this album. It was really different, in that, like, it was a lot, I wouldn't, not completely different, but it was very different from Reputation.
Yes.
And it was a lot slower. I think, like, she brought some of her pop back with, like, Me and some stuff like that, but there was definitely some slower pieces to it. I, again, loved her kind of, because to me this kind of also continued her, like, I don't care what you think about me kind of thoughts, especially with You Need to Calm Down and her support of LGBTQ plus people and all that kind of stuff, of, like, people were like, oh no, she's not going to talk about things because it's political and she'll lose fans, and she's just like, nope, I don't care. I these are human people and I want to support them.
Right, like she is, as she has been shown in some of the documentaries, she's like, this is too important and I feel too strongly to not show my support.
Right. And so that was awesome. But then this album also has a special place for me, especially the song Lover. Sarah's going to talk a little bit more about for her, but this is just to give you a little insight in our lives a little bit. When I proposed to Sarah, I made a book, or a scrapbook of all of our adventures and all of the things we'd done, and on each page I had a Taylor Swift lyric or an Elton John lyric, and I used the Lover lyric because it timed up when I proposed, of I've spent 3 summers now, I want them all.
Yeah, because we had been dating for
we
3
had been dating
summers
for 3 summers at that point, and so it lined up perfectly, and so I put that in the album. And Sarah really, really enjoyed that, and she of course said yes. So that was also a bonus. But yeah, so this is just because I think this is the album that I first kind of introduced and you actually, like, fell really in love with. Mm-hmm. The first one, like, I think you have other ones that you've connected with more since, but this was the one where I was like, okay, I'll start you off with this one. And you're like, wow, like, she actually has some really good she's a really good lyricist. She has important things to say, like, as I showed you, You Need to Calm Down and mm-hmm, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a really special album for me, and I think for both of us. But I can explain a little bit more how it's a connection with you.
Yeah. No, this, like what you've already alluded to it, this album will always hold a special place in my heart because I do consider it my first Taylor Swift album. I know that you had started to venture into the waters of not necessarily converting me to Taylor Swift, but you wanted me to give her more of a fair shake, for me to listen to her albums in full versus just, the pop hit on the radio. And so I remember, because she had released a couple of singles before the full album dropped, and I remember you sending them to me or telling me that I needed to go check it out. And it's like, I loved Me, because that was one of the singles. And I'm like, this is a bop. I love it. This is great. I love the music video too. And then You Need to Calm Down. I was just like, well, hot girl. Like, you do this. And, like, how cool that video was and how many cameos were in that music video. Like, I really appreciated that. And then this album we did listen to separately. We didn't listen to it together. But it was when it started to click for me that, like, I'm connecting with these songs and, like, I see the beauty and the skill and all of the layers in this music. And so it's, kind of my turning point. And that's why I say, like, this is my first one, because I, listened to the album in full at the beginning and it kind of got me into my Taylor Swift journey.
You also were falling in love with a guy when you were listening to it.
Oh, that little thing, huh? So it really, really hit, huh? But this album is always going to have a special place in my heart. I think other ones have surpassed it in terms of being my favorite Taylor Swift album. But again, we can't pick our favorite kids, right? But there's the track Lover, the title track itself, Lover, is always going to be a very special song for both of us. But because that was the song we picked an instrumental arrangement of it, but that is the song Lover that I walked down the aisle to at our wedding. Our wedding party walked down the aisle, and then, to an instrumental version of Lover. And we debated very strongly whether that was going to be our first dance song or not. But we ended up going with, because it had such a beautiful instrumental arrangement, to have it be the processional music and the, walking down the aisle. So.
And I think a little bit of the callback to my engagement book. And we talked about that, and
we did,
having it like actually in the wedding versus at the reception.
Yeah. So I'm getting a little verklempt and emotional about it, but yeah, so it's got a special place in my heart. Just
All
like
right.
you do, Alex.
Just like me. Exactly. Just like...
Sapping sugar.
Oh, yeah. All right. Since I'm sad, I want to go last.
I was going to say, I don't want you to...
I don't want to bring you down, so I want you to go happy.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to keep... We were just talking about all the wonderfulness of Lover and our wedding and stuff, so I'm going to keep that vibe.
Keep that vibe
going, so I'll go first.
Don't tell me it's Lover.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
It's a little... I don't want to say it's more ridiculous than that. But my pick for Leia for Lover is I Think He Knows.
Okay.
Because Han literally says that he knows Leia loves him.
No, that's a great one.
I was gonna say I don't really need to elaborate more on that, but I will a little bit. So, the lyrics: I think he knows, his hands around a cold glass make me want to know that body like it's mine. Han is one to go to the cantina. We talked last episode how suave and smooth he is, and that's going to fit right in there with that lyric. He's got that boyish look that I like in a man, definitely.
Yes, he does.
And then, so the part of the chorus is, want to see what's under that attitude, like, I want you, bless my soul, and I ain't got to tell him, I think he knows. I think he knows. And this just totally speaks to Empire Strikes Back, where Han wants her to say it, but, like, he already knows that she loves him. And then you have the moment where she does tell him that she loves him. She says, I love you, in the carbon freezing chamber. And he responds back with, I know. And it is chef's kiss, the most romantic line ever. But that is that. And then, continuing on with the lyrics, I think he knows when we get all alone, I'll make myself at home, and he'll want me to stay. I think he knows he better lock it down, or I won't stick around, 'cause good ones never wait. I think that also speaks to their relationship. And then the last part for me is, I think this is the bridge, as lyrical smile, indigo eyes, hand on my thigh. We can follow the sparks. I'll drive. So where we gonna go? I whisper in the dark. Where we gonna go? And it's just like they're, she's always up for adventure with him and going through on the Millennium Falcon, and they're pilot and co-pilot in life. And it is beautiful. And Han knows that Leia loves him.
Yes, and I actually really agree with that, and I think especially with he needs to lock it down. And I think that works out really well because especially in Return of the Jedi, like when he thinks that she loves Luke, he's like, "Oh no, I missed my chance."
A little
And then,
bit, yeah.
oh no, it's no. I think it's not a little bit. Like he's like, oh, he's just like, nope, you love him. All right, I won't get in the way. I'll leave. And she's like, no, he's my brother. And he's just like, what? And then again, we know right after that they got married.
Yeah.
In Princess and the Scoundrel. So like
Yeah.
it was like he's like, yep, I'm not gonna let this go. I'm gonna lock it down.
Well, and I think that's part of his urgency in Empire Strikes Back of wanting her to say I love you, because like he wants that the profession on both sides in a way of like, this is a step towards us locking it down and committing to each other, and like I want to be your man.
Sure, and like she very much, and I understand it too because of why he doesn't say it to like first. Because like there are a lot of people like, well, why doesn't he just say his feelings? But I'm like, there's like he knows, but he wants her to admit it because she thinks she's better than him. Like she's a princess. She's the general. Like she's like he's like, I'm a scoundrel, and like he's like, oh, and because like even she says like I like
Nice.
I like nice men. I like nice men. He's like, I am nice, and like she's putting forth the like, oh, I'm not supposed to like you. And so he's like, you have to admit that you like me first.
Yeah, there's something in
Like
the room.
there's something in the room that we both like each other. Like we both know I like you, but like you have to admit that you like me, and I know you do. So yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
Good pick.
Yeah, and I know it's so tongue in cheek a little bit because he's like, he says the line and it Han knows. It's great. So that's my happy moment for you listeners, and I hope it can carry through you through whatever sad tide Alex brings here.
Oh, it's gonna be rough.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Right. Okay. All right, I'm ready.
So that was a wonderful pick, and I think Sarah did a wonderful job with that. But as we talked about earlier, I think especially on the second half of the season, I'm trying to dive deeper into not just focusing on Leia and Han. So I did go into a relationship. So it is a relationship, but it is not Leia and Han. It is Leia and Keir Domadi. And that, I see Sarah not remembering that name. That is her romantic relationship in Leia, Princess of Alderaan, the book. And the song I chose was Death by a Thousand Cuts. Because she lets him die. Because he knows the Imperial, like he's an Alderaanian and thinks that she's innocent. But, like, he's like, I have to tell the Imperials about this rebel base. And, like, he gets injured in the fight. And then she goes and she flies and meets him as, like, she goes to his bot or his ship and, like, talks to him. And, like, they try to imply that, like, oh, yeah, he's going to die anyway. But, like, Claudia Gray, amazing writer, talks about how, like, Leia just kind of sits there and like holds him as he dies. And to me, I took this as it is like this is one of many, and it's like she's going to slowly die by 1,000 cuts of all the sacrifices she's going to have to make, because this is the first big one she makes as starting with the rebellion. And so she lets him die so that he won't tell the Empire about the rebellion. And it is the cost that it takes, and that she takes responsibility for each death. And so I'll work through it. I know, Sarah, I'm sorry, listeners, but it's rough. But like, I'll work through it. So, because she was romantically involved with him and throughout the story. So this is Leia, Princess of Alderaan, the book. You should all go read it. It's a really good book. Spoilers ahead. I mean, I already spoiled it. Sorry.
I was gonna.
But like,
say.
yeah, no, I already did. But so this is her thinking about what's happening, and she says, "I look through the windows of this love, even though we boarded them up." So like, she boarded them up. He didn't really have a choice. But then chandelier's still flickering here. So like, she still has some love. She still has love for him. She's sad because I can't pretend it's okay when it's not. No, it's not. It's death by 1,000 cuts you didn't touch. trying to find my part of me that you didn't touch. My body, my love, my trust. It's death by 1,000 cuts. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. No, no. I take the long way home. I ask the traffic lights if it'll be all right. They say, I don't know. And she's processing of like, this is the toll that it's going to take on me. And there is a massive toll that is put on Leia. And she has to put that aside and go, this is the better system. And I have to take this unto myself. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I mean, because, Leia, Princess of Alderaan is her coming-of-age story, and that is where she does have to learn, like, she learns really big lessons, and to your point, she makes her first big sacrifices for the greater good outside of herself. And, I mean, that just defines her life literally until her dying moment.
Yeah. So she does have happiness there with you, as you said, with your songs and stuff like that. And we've found happiness in other pieces of her, but like, yeah, this was one that I was just like, oh, this is perfect. Like, this is so perfect of like the toll that it takes on her.
No, and
nobody talks about that.
No, I had kind of forgotten about that moment, and so I'm pleasantly surprised you pulled in Leia, Princess of Alderaan, because that is such a good book, and I had kind of forgotten about that part of it.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I will hold you as you die.
Yeah. And she's like, I have to make this sacrifice, because if you reveal that this thing is happening, like, my parents, Alderaan is gone.
Yeah,
like,
everything's
the
in
Empire
jeopardy.
everything's in jeopardy, and so I have to make this sacrifice for the greater good.
Woof. It's okay.
Okay.
You're looking like it's a bad thing. No,
I was just like,
it's a really good pick, but it's deep and it cuts. But Star Wars is tragedy,
right?
Especially Leia's Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
it's tragedy. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. I'm sorry. I think next time. No, it's not happy.
I was gonna say it's
no.
our next one is folklore.
We're diving into folklore, so we're diving into our pandemic albums. So
there's some happy ones on there.
There are happy ones on there, but
yeah,
they're more moody. Introspective, moody. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would argue, and it would be a toss-up between the two. And I'm not gonna, again, as we'd say, we don't pick our children, but I would say lyrically and like as written with story involved, I would think these two are probably the next two coming up, Folklore and Evermore, are like her best written albums of all of them, of like with a complete story and stuff like that. So I'm excited to talk about them. I hope you all are excited to listen. And if you want to communicate with us, you can let us know and communicate with us through Instagram and Threads. You can send us a DM or comment at The Sand Hurts My Feelings Pod. That is both on Instagram and Threads. You can also use the hashtag LeiaTS Folklore. So that's LaiaTSFolklore. And you can send that hashtag and we can talk about what you think. If you think there's a song that particularly emphasizes Leia in folklore. You can also send us an email. Let us know how upset you are with me in making you all sad about this Lover album that's supposed to be happy. And you can send us an email at thesandhurtsmyfeelingspod@gmail.com. You can also comment or DM us on Facebook at The Sand Hurts My Feelings Podcast. Also, please rate and review the podcast on whatever podcasting service you're listening to. Gets more eyes on the podcast. Tell your friends. Let us know about it. Talk about it. And we would love to get bigger and have chat. But again, we're having a lot of fun talking about this. Like,
yeah, we are.
It's diving. Our own understanding of Star Wars and Taylor Swift is just growing with each episode. So
yeah,
we're super excited. So all right, but as always, remember,
may the Force be with you forever and always.
May the Force be with you.
Forever and always.